Malaysia, one of the many countries in Southeast Asia. It is also one of the most conservative countries in Southeast Asia, and this is due to the national religions of Malaysia being Islam. Most Malaysians can be seen observing Muslim dress code. Although Malaysia is a conservative Muslim country, student prostitution and prostitution in general is rather rampant here. Student prostitution is a major underground industry which involves both foreign and local students. These girls are often introduced to a businessman by a friend who need an extra companion for dinner, for example. This usually ends up an overnight stay at one of the many luxury and budget hotels around here. Many girls find this the experience of having sex with strangers after dinner exciting, and they don't see themselves as prostitutes when they engage in activities like this spasmodically. They enjoy the thrill of a relationship with a stranger and get some extra money to buy the luxurious thing they want. They then resort to this as a regular source of income. Taking strange men on date with is usually enough to cover their expenses and to take care of their families. Prostitution is seen as the easiest way for most of them to make a quick easy buck.
So is it considered a service? Society does not view it as an acceptable job. Prostitutes do not take the full share of their earnings and constantly have to give a portion of their earnings to their hustlers or pimps. Now the role of the pimp. The prostitute becomes property. Prostitution aids the buyer in removing a person's humanity. When a person buys this service, he is transforming the woman into a living, breathing masturbation fantasy. Research indicates that a variety of Johns refuse to wear condoms when engaging in sexual activities with prostitutes, and they would pay high prices to desperate women to not use condoms. Moreover, they would also rape women when promising to use condoms when engaging in sexual activities and in fact removing them halfway through the act. Prostitution oftentimes breaks the sanctity of marriage, and it encourages promiscuity among single men and adultery among married men. Prostitutes also boast that we will do what your wife or girlfriend won't do. Prostitutes are at high risk for contracting infections such as HIV or AIDS, hepatitis B and C, chlamydia, genital herpes, warts, gonorrhea, and syphilis. Once infected, they spread these ailments to other clients, and this in turn creates a vicious cycle of STDs, promoting itself to the general population, when these promiscuous men actually go home and continue having sexual relations with their significant other. In accordance with Kant's deontology theory, it would be considered immoral. Human trafficking is also associated with prostitution. Street prostitution becomes trafficking when a pimp uses force, fraud, and/or coercion to maintain control over the person's providing commercial sexual services and causes the person to engage in commercial sexual acts.
Besides that, many insurance companies do not provide medical insurance to the prostitutes as they conduct illegal activity, and it's a bad reputation to the institution. Therefore, many of these sex workers are transmitted with various sexual transmitted diseases such as HIV and AIDS. Globally, the prostitution business is worth $186 billion. According to the website Havocscope, which analyzes the black economy, income on that skill could generate a lot of tax revenue. It's been estimated legalizing prostitution could give the tax authorities a ton load of income yearly. In Germany, which liberalized its prostitution laws in 2002, the legal industry is worth around 16 billion pounds. And tax revenue is a major contribution to some city budgets. Approximately 14% of the gross domestic product of Thailand, which is $27 billion a year, was supplied by sex businesses. It's time the sex industry is taxed like any other business so that those revenues can benefit society.
Another solution to overcome prostitution is to abolish prostitution completely. Prostitution is not considered to be about sex or sexual identity, but rather one-sided exploitative exchange rooted in male power. Besides that, many abolitionists reject the sanitizing description of sex worker and regard prostitution as a form of violence and neoliberal world in human flesh came to be viewed as a commodity like a burger. Even though prostitution can be legalized, there are high possibilities that teenagers and children may be involved in it. In Sweden, where the law criminalizing demand and decriminalizing those selling sex has been placed since 1999, there has been a sea change in attitudes among citizens, with around 80% supporting the government's approach. Therefore, progressive solution to sex trade is to assist women to exit and criminalize those who drive the demand by having much stricter human trafficking laws and even establishing special squads to conduct frequent raids into illegal brothels.
The best solution where all parties benefit from and we all completely decided on would be to legalize prostitution. Firstly, it will benefit for both the sex worker and consumer medically. STD screening would be a part of the standard operating procedure in order to prevent said STDs spreading from the worker to the general population or vice versa. With proper medical screening and care, both the providers and consumer of this transaction can ensure their safety. Furthermore, by legalizing prostitution, the government can earn more revenue from the sin tax imposed on prostitution, just like cigarettes and alcohol. This income can be used to serve the society in a way which will help the growth of the economy and better the environment for its all voters.
Moreover, sex in and of itself is a natural act that all humans crave for. Even without the legalization of prostitution, people are still in search of it to satisfy their sexual drive. To abolish sex work would cause people to look for other unsafe outlets to release themselves. In regard to child prostitution, legalization of sex work would actually cause this form of child abuse that is secretly rampant in our nation to stop. Also, governments, as everyone knows, governments work with a set budget. By making prostitution illegal, this would actually encourage and increase underground sex and human trafficking. This would then require the government to mobilize special squads in order to cut down on these illegal activities, which further eats into their already limited budget. Instead, when prostitution is legalized, the government can actually focus on other crimes such as murders, kidnappings, drugs, and work to further protect the country from these heinous acts. The best solution in which all parties benefit would be to legalize prostitution because it would be safer for the workers, the consumers, the public, and the government.